I finally got round 100 on every single Black Ops 3 Zombies map, and doing this has always been a bit of a dream goal that I never thought I'd achieve. Black Ops 3 is my favourite rendition of zombies, and I really do think it is the best. Each of these 6 maps have so much character, and you can really see the passion that Treyarch put into this game. I've really enjoyed getting to round 100 on every one of these maps, but at times it has been really difficult. Also, a big part of this challenge was doing it with nothing but classic gobblegums. So here's the highs and lows of how I got round 100 on every Black Ops 3 Zombies map. I hope you enjoy. Okay, so first is Shadows of Evil. So as you can see, I checked the power up that spawns there, and I just get a max ammo just because it might help in the later rounds. And then straight after, I checked the Waterfront District perk, and I can see it's speed cola, so we're alright to go. And the reason I checked for this perk is basically for the high round strategy, we need it to be anything but jump. I pick up the Fumigator just because we need that for one of the parts of the Apothicon Servant. And then I use my first beast of the game to open up the map. Now basically the setup, as a lot of you might know, you just have to do 4 rituals to open Pack-a-Punch. So whilst we go through these clips, I think I'll just talk about the actual map. Shadows of Evil is an absolutely insane map, and it definitely is one of my favorites. Like, easily top 3. This is probably one of the zombies maps I've spent the most time playing, and the word I'll use to describe this map is absolute masterpiece. The actual aesthetic of Morgue City is so interesting. Each part of the city blends really well but feels completely different. And this kind of like hellish devil look that it's got going on, it just adds to it so much more. The setup for Pack-a-Punch is really fun. The new zombie types like the Marga and the Parasites were really cool. The Easter egg was insane, and it just really set a good pace to what Black Ops 3 was going to become. For me, Shadows of Evil has it all. First zombies I played was Black Ops 2, and it felt like once Black Ops 3 finally came around, it was Black Ops 2 but with everything and more. Like, it even had Jeff Goldblum. Like, what? How sick is that? But yeah, moving on. As you can see, I take the tram and I look for these symbols out the window that basically allows us to unlock the sword, which is the specialist weapon for this map. We need it for the high round strategy as well as the Apothicon Servant, and it kills 2 birds with 1 stone just because we have to use the tram to get to this area, because we need to keep the door shut at the waterfront for the main high round strategy. Even the portals dotted around the map, it made traversing it so much fun. But once I've obtained all the 4 gate worms, I make our way to the subway station, and the first thing I do is use the beast, and then I can type in the 3 symbols we got from the tram, and this gives us the egg for the specialist weapon. And then I just place the 4 gate worms to open Pack-a-Punch, and I know that's a really weird sentence, and saying it out loud now, it makes you think like how ridiculous Black Ops 3 is, but to be honest, it just all works for me. Genuinely, it was really creative. And then once we've completed the ritual, the Shadow Man shows he's actually an Apothicon. What a twist. So now all that's left is the actual setup, and the first thing I do is place my egg onto this little squid thing, and we basically have to kill some zombies, get some souls, and it fills up the egg. We just have to do this 4 times with the egg at 4 different locations. I then decide to Pack-a-Punch my Cuda, and this just makes setting up so much easier. And just look at this Pack-a-Punch, it's like a satanic portal, and the camo is insane. Right in this moment though, I get my first red eye of the game, like literally could have been over. I then decide to Pack-a-Punch it again though, just because we need the AAT of turned. But unfortunately I was not so lucky and I got dead wire. I then place my egg on another Apothicon squid, kill some more zombies, almost die again, and again, and I finally learn and then buy jump at round 5. I grab the first shield part. Also, once you've opened Pack-a-Punch, a giant Apothicon spawns in the sky and it goes all red. Absolutely sick. This map looks cool already, and then it just looks even cooler. I then pick up the first fuse for the Civil Protector, get the second part for the shield, capture the souls at the 3rd Apothicon statue for the egg, and then finally repeat it at the last statue. I then get the 3rd and final part of the shield. I as well get the second fuse, I buy stamina, I then place the Apothicon egg down in the sword, and we can get the first variation of it, but we need to upgrade it. I then build the shield in the Waterfront District at this workbench, and then it's nice and close for the high round strategy. I then come to the boxing area because I'm playing as the boxing character, and I get the Arc Ovum. And this is the egg that we need to fill up to upgrade the sword. And then to upgrade the sword, all you need to do is come to 4 different areas and place the Arc Ovum. It will spawn some Margwas, and each time you do it, it will fill up your Arc Ovum a little bit. I do it again in the spawn area. Place it for a 3rd time right out at the Burlesque, and then the final one right outside the boxing gym. And then I just come back to the Apothicon Ghost, give it the Arc Ovum, and then we have the upgraded sword, and look how cool this thing looks. And it not only looks cool, it's so overpowered, and I think it might be my favourite specialist of the game. Now next, I start hitting the box for little Arnies, but unfortunately in this game, my RNG was just rock bottom unlucky. And this took me a very long time. Another crazy red eye though, and to be honest, I actually thought I'd lost the game at this point. Like, I should not have survived this, this was way too close. In the meantime though, I get the 3rd fuse for the Civil Protector, but luckily at round 16 I use the Fumigator, and we do get the Apothicon Tentacle that we need for the Apothicon Servant. I get Widow's Wine, Pack-a-Punch my Cuda again, and I do get turn this time. I place the 3 fuses so we've got the Civil Protector now, and this is a good moment to like blast to the past a little bit. When I first played Shadows of Evil, I used to always train down here in the subway, and I think the highest I got back then was about 60, and yeah, it just reminded me of such a simple and fun time. And then finally at round 21, after spending a ton of points, I get the little Arnies. Next, I start the Easter egg to actually upgrade the little Arnies. And first, I need to get 100 kills with them. So over the next few rounds, I just throw little Arnies whenever I've got them. And then once I've got the 100 kills, I throw a little Arnie here, and I can collect the hat in Nero's lair. And then there's just another 2 items, and then we get the upgraded little Arnies. The second one's this cane in the Canal District. And then the last one's in the boxing gym. And honestly, I did this that long ago that I can't even remember what it is. And then I just make my way to the burlesque, and I throw a little Arnie here, and we've got the upgraded little Arnies and the 4 gateworms to this cool little dance as well. It's a unique little Easter egg, and the rewards of the upgraded little Arnies make the round 100 so much easier. Plus, you get to see this little Arnie just dance. And that's another thing I think Black Ops 3 did right. Even though it's quite a serious game, it had a lot of laughs and it knew where to have fun. Around 28, I get quick revive, and as you can see, my RNG was this unlucky. But finally, at round 32, we get the last part for the Apothecary Servant. I build it straight away, and we can finally start the high round strategy. And genuinely, this weapon is so much fun to use, and as you can see, it's really OP. Now, as I said before, the strategy that we're using for the high round is in the water district, but you have to keep that staircase on the left closed and the door, and it allows you to train here. And the spawn rates are ridiculously fast. It takes some getting used to, because it is quite close quarters and things can get a bit hectic. Now, before I actually explain the high round strategy more in depth, I take my first down here on round 62. And as you can see, things get a little bit too hectic. It could have been avoided, but to be honest, it wasn't too bad. It definitely isn't my worst down, to say at least. I take my second down on round 79, and this one's just sad because I didn't have any ammo in my Apothecary Servant, and to be honest, I can't even remember why I was even out here. But luckily, my Civil Protector actually revives me, which saves my quick revive. Now, the high round strategy that I use basically consists of 3 things. I use Turned on Makuda whenever I can. And then I train in this formation, and as you can see, Widow's Wine is an absolute saviour. The spawns are ridiculously fast here, and I use my Apothecary Servant in this spot, and this basically allows us to spawn trap the majority of zombies that we can. And then once we've used the Apothecary Servant, we can pull out our sword, and then we basically just stay in this area, just running back and forth, and the sword is that OP like I said before. And this gets you through the majority of the round, and all you need to do if you need to recharge it is either use the Apothecary Servant or Little Arnies. And I remember years ago seeing someone do this strategy, and I thought no way that I'd be able to do it. And honestly, it's not actually as hard as it looks. It is very close quarters, and it does take a little getting used to. Like honestly, it was a lot of fun, and I had a blast doing this strategy, and it was probably one of the most fun strategies that I've done doing this round 100 challenge. And as you can see, if your shield breaks, it's really easy with it being in the waterfront. You can just make your way down here, and the shield's in a really close place. Now, a really important part of Black Ops 3 high round strategy is you've got to cycle your gobblegums, because what you need is alchemical antithesis. And this is the most vital gobblegum for all these high round strategies. And this is because when it's activated, instead of points, you get ammo, which in the high rounds is absolutely vital. And I think it almost lasts for about a minute as well, so you can just spam in these 2 spots. And it speeds up the rounds quite significantly. But yeah, for the high rounds, you just need to make sure that you're cycling through the gobblegums each round. Because on some of these runs, I came really close, but sometimes I die on a high round just because I didn't have ammo. Talking of dying, I take my 3rd down on round 84, and then my 4th down with my final quick revive on round 88. And you can see I paused here, and I was pretty scared. I didn't want to come this far and lose the game. I think it had been about like 5.5 hours that I'd played. So the last 12 rounds for me, they were quite nerve-wracking. Now that I've got a free perk slot, I do get a speed caller. Another fun part of this strategy is when you get death machines, you can just sit in this spot and all the zombies just funnel to you. And another crazy moment, I get a red eye at round 90. I do not know how I didn't die here. I think lying down might have helped. I have no idea, but that was way too close for my liking. Now you might be thinking, what do I do about Marguas? And I think there's no crazier clip than this to show how I do it. So basically, I throw a little Arnie in this exact spot over here. The Margwa will then follow the little Arnie, and then I can spawn in the Civil Protector, and it literally crushes it on the head. Using this strategy, Margwas aren't even a problem. But what makes this clip so interesting as well, I down again, and for a second, I thought the game was over. Luckily, I have the Civil Protector, and it actually revives me. Honestly, my heart dropped because I got to round 92 and I thought I'd lost it. And yeah, luckily I just throw a little arm down, get my perks back, and yeah, very, very, very lucky. And if it wasn't for the Civil Protector, like I said, as you can see, I would have lost this run. So not only can it kill Margwas in one shot, but it can revive you, and it's an absolute saviour. Definitely one of my most favourite spawnables. But finally, with an alchemical to spare, we get to round 100, and this is definitely one of my most fun that I've ever had. And as a kid, I remember playing this map when I was about 15, and I never even thought I'd be able to do this. So honestly, it was kind of a bit of a surreal moment because I'd finally done it after all these years. And like I say, I didn't really think I'd ever be able to do it, so it's really cool. But yeah, 21,000 kills, 5 downs, 4 revives, and round 100. Next is the giant. Now the first thing I always do is check the stamina up. You can see it is from that little pixel at the top right. And then I check the perk right on the side and you can see it's speed cola already. And I check the perk at the top of here and we can see it's quick revive. This was the map that I restarted on the most because those perk machine spawns, oh my god, the RNG is ridiculous on them. And this was also the map that I did last and it took me the longest. It took me longer to do this one map than it did to do the other 5, which now until the end of time, I'll refer to this map as the giant pain in my arse. Because honestly, I'm kind of laughing now, but at times, I think I almost cried. This map is bloody hard. So combining that with having to restart because of the RNG with the perk machines, it genuinely made it quite draining to do. I got to round 90 4 times on this map. So after a while, I genuinely thought I might not even be able to do it. But after many hours and many attempts, we finally did. So as you can see, I buy the RK5 because this is one of the weapons that we use for the high round strategy. I always stay to round 5, so I get around about 8,000 points. I hit the gobble gun machine, I check, and we get Jug in that spawn location. And I was so excited. The amount of times that I got to the 5th round and had to restart because I didn't get the right perk locations. Also, the crew from Mob of the Dead managed to get here. But I turn the power on, I buy the Bowie knife, and that means we can knife till round 9 and we can get a load of points. Then I'll link the first teleporter. Now I know that I said that this is the giant pain in my arse, but to be honest, I still do love this map. It's a great map with a great design. It's also an amazing remake. I never actually played Derice when it came out, so it was really fun when this came out in Black Ops 3. And though this round 100 was really hard, it was really fun, but I genuinely would just never do it again. But I jug at round 6 because we're using the Bowie knife, so sometimes you can get in some sticky situations. Because especially in previous runs, those extra hits saved me in the early rounds. But as far as for the setup, the giant's really easy. You just first link the 3 teleporters. And then once we've linked the 3rd teleporter, we get Pack-a-Punch. And then we just gotta hit the box a ton because the next part is just completely RNG. As I'm hitting the box with the Wunderwaffe and the monkeys, I get my first red eye of the game, and yeah, even with this being the last map that I did, I was still getting red eyes ridiculously early on. But at round 11, we get the Wunderwaffe. Honestly, I love the principle of the Wunderwaffe, but to be honest, it's just terrible. It sometimes shoots blanks, it can be really unpredictable, and there's just not enough ammo in it. But don't get me wrong, it looks really cool. With it shooting electricity, it is really cool, but there's just so many faults with it. And I do put a little bit of blame on the Wunderwaffe for the fact that it took me so long to do this map because of it. Around 15, we get Speed Cola. Then at round 19, we finally get the Monkey Bombs. A little bit sketch, but we do make it out alive. Now that we've got the Monkey Bombs, we can unlock Stamina. And all we've got to do is just teleport 3 Monkey Bombs, 1 through each of the teleporters. Then once all 3 are done, we can then go to this button over here, and we can activate it. It'll activate this robot head that melts the ice off the Stamina machine, and we've got Stamina. That's one thing I am grateful for, is you can see the pixel in the top right of the Stamina machine, because if I had to restart every time after completing that Monkey Bomb step and it was Deadshot Daiquiri, I genuinely don't think I would have done this. But as you can see, we've got Stamina up, and it is vital for this strategy. It's a large part of this strategy is literally training. And then by quick revive nice and early, Pack-a-Punch the Wunderwaffe, and then we can start the early round strat. Which, to be honest, it used to be really fun, but I think I just hate it now because I've done it so many times. But I do have to admit, the Wunderwaffe Pack-a-Punch looks amazing. Like, the rainbow texture is so sick. Now, there's 2 strategies I use for the giant. One with Wunderwaffe ammo, and then one without. So the first one, when you have Wunderwaffe ammo, I basically camp on the spawn platform where Pack-a-Punch is and just shoot the Wunderwaffe whenever any zombies are near me. Plus, there is just about enough room to just train on here. And then it just allows enough zombies to get near the platform so you can use the Wunderwaffe to its maximum potential. But don't get me started on the dogs. This map would be a hell of a lot easier if it didn't spawn dogs. But as you can see, even being on the platform, there was many times I died on here. And the Wunderwaffe would sometimes shoot blanks as well. Plus, it has this thing where if you shoot the Wunderwaffe, you can't regenerate health. I don't know if that's intentional. I don't know if that's a glitch, but it genuinely shouldn't be a thing. I had died so many times because of this glitch. But yeah, the Wunderwaffe is just, it's a weird gun. It's fun to use, but definitely one of my least favorite. Another thing with the giant is constantly cycle your gobble gums, because alchemical speeds up these rounds so much. So whenever I pop one, I'd literally just spam it at every window, every spawn. Another crazy part with this strategy though is you can get to about round 65, 70 if you're lucky just doing this strategy. But that just depends on your luck with max ammos and alchemicals. So as you can see, I got to round 68 just doing this strategy. I got pretty lucky with alchemicals and max ammos, and unfortunately, this is our first down, and it could have been avoided. But to be fair, this did kick me up the arse for the rest of the game, and it really made me concentrate. Now the second strategy we use, we have to keep this door shut. Now, that's because we've got to train in this first room, and it's just this little area here that we spend the majority of the time training. And with keeping the door shut on the right, it means that we can use the other areas if we get stuck. Now on this run, I actually kept a bit of ammo in the Wunderwaffe all the time, just as an extra precaution. But in the higher rounds, what I would do is just train a bunch of zombies up here, and then I'd use Blast Furnace on my RK5 to kill them. And I know you'll believe it, this gets so tedious. This isn't the fastest strategy, but to be honest, it was one of the safest, and in the end, it did work. And just one thing that you have to really watch out for is the dogs. You basically have to kill them as soon as they spawn, because they can trap you so easily, and I downed so many times where I've been training, I've got a full train of zombies, and then a dog would just spawn in front of me, and you have to kill them immediately because they're so fast and it can literally just kill you. This map would be so much easier without dogs. Something else that does speed up these rounds though is with using the Wunderwaffe. You don't get as many death machines or max ammos, so once the ammos run out, they do start to pop off. And standing in that spot with the death machine is really fun. You've just got to make sure you aim for the head though without double tap. Now if I got into a position where I get trapped, I would just run down here and then I'd put my back to the wall and I'd just check the window just in case there's any zombies. And once they're on the bottom, you can just make this little maneuver and you can get out. And then once I'm safely out, I just use my RK5 and blast furnace them. I must have done this little strategy thousands of times, but genuinely, you can't do the giant without it. Well, in this strategy anyway. Also, quite a lot, I'd run up the teleporter, and then I'd make my way to the right side of it, jump down, and then it gives you enough time to just run back to the usual spot. The training side of the strategy isn't hard, it just takes a lot of stamina. And with doing it for so long, it means you can just mess up quite easily. Around 96, I get probably my most stupid death. I pick up a death machine, and I try to activate the in-plane sight gobblegum that I have. But unfortunately, you cannot. Which at the time I was really surprised about, but it kind of does make a little bit of sense. Now my third and final down, it was on round 98, and at this point, oh my god, I thought I'd came this far. I was 2 rounds away from getting the round 100. At this exact moment I was thinking, if I don't do it now, I think I just give up. But I throw a monkey bomb, I get my perks back, then I just carry on with the round, and honestly at this point I was really scared. Like, if I die, I die. I didn't have the safety net of a quick revive, and honestly it kind of makes you play really weirdly. I managed to get through round 98, and all I could think about is I've got to go through one more round, and I was genuinely terrified because I just didn't know if I could actually do it. But luckily we got a dog round and an alchemical. I do have to admit, it was a really nice feeling knowing that I'd actually done it. I'd finally beaten the giant, and it was a great feeling because this was the last map. I'd finally beaten all 6 Black Ops 3 Zombies maps. Plus, on the 100th round, I actually did the Giant's Easter egg where you can get the Annihilator. I don't know if anyone's ever done it at round 100, but I did. Maybe a first ever. But yeah, not impossible, but incredibly hard. I beat the Giant, and with 24,000 kills and all 3 downs, oh, we did it. Okay, next is Eisendrache. This is also one of my most favourite maps, and in my opinion, it is genuinely perfect. To this day, I think it still has my most favourite Easter egg. It's always been an absolute blast to play, and the round 100 is no exception. I leave spawn from the left side and pick up the shield part, I feed the first dragon head, I turn power on, buy the bowie knife, grab the second shield part, I feed zombies to the second dragon that's in the church, and then lastly the third dragon that's in the undercraft. Once all 3 dragons are fed, we can now pick up the bow to start getting the wonder weapons. And honestly, to this day, I think the bows are still my favourite wonder weapons. For this high round, I use the electric bow, and I remember the first time I actually upgraded this bow, it absolutely blew my mind. And they're not only OP, but they're so much fun to use. At round 5, I buy Jug. Also, the anti-gravity in the undercraft is really fun, just because the entire game of Black Ops 3 introduces this different mechanic of where you can move, so it's cool that they introduced it into zombies as well. I grab the final piece for the shield, and I build it in the church because this is where our high round strategy is. After that, we kill some zombies to fill these urns, and once they're filled, it allows us to get electric on our bow. Then I just shoot the bonfires that I lit before. One thing I always really enjoy in Black Ops 3 is the setup. It's so much more rewarding when it takes a while, and plus, they aren't even that hard once you've learned them. But I do understand if at first, new players just don't have a clue what's going on. But nice and early on round 8, we do get the electric bow. And honestly, there's a lot of close contenders, but this is the best wonder weapon of all time. It looks mega, and it just is mega. I buy stamina up, and then straight after I do build the wolf bow because it's really easy, and in the high rounds it just basically guarantees me a max ammo. And this is because on the last step of the bows when you have to fill the souls, it always gives you a max ammo, so in the high rounds it's just great. Plus, if after we do run out of ammo again, we still have the wolf bow. Whilst building the wolf bow, our first hit of the box, we get the brekkie. This is the second weapon that we use for the high round strategy. I buy double tap, and I finish the steps for the wolf bow, and we can just put the skeleton here, and we get the arrow, and then we've got the max ammo. And just look how cool this animation is, even the stories, it's so sick. All the zombies maps have heart and soul, but I think Eisendrache has the most. Around 19, I pack punch the brekkie, then I pack punch it again for turn, and just look at it, you got the pack punch from Origins. I then buy our final perk, Quick Revive. On 25 we get Monkey Bombs. I then build the Ragnarok DG4s, and this is the specialist for this map. And in the way, they're just as mental as the sword from Shadows of Evil. Now the high round strat is just up these stairs on the left hand side. And this strategy is really easy. You just use the brekkie in between firing the bow. And having turns on me throughout the round just speeds it up. And then you fire the bow on the shield in the middle. And because you're at the top of the staircase, there's no spawns up here, so all the zombies have to come up. And these are the fastest spawns on Eisendrache. So for the majority of the time as well, if you time it right, once you get used to it, you can just keep repeating this, fire it. And then if zombies do make their way up here, you can just use turned on your brekkie. I'd also use the Ragnaroks. I'd just pull it out, use it, and then return to my bow, and then by the time you kill your bow, it recharges your Ragnaroks. So it's a good little tactic for a safety net. And then at the end of each round, you just come up to the staircase, and it's right around the corner. This is the closest gobblegum machine, and you just need to make sure that you cycle through them because you need those alchemicals. And then on round 85, I took my first down, and it was avoidable to be fair. I just didn't pull up my Ragnaroks fast enough, and yeah, that was the first and only down of the game. Whenever a panzer spawned, I'd just come to the death ray section, I'd wait for him to fly in, and then I'd just turn on the death ray, and this is where the brekkie comes in handy a lot as well. All you have to do is just shoot it at its chest. It usually only takes about a mag. Once again, bosses that were once really hard to deal with, just really easy. But to round Eisendrache up, it's one of my favourite maps, and it'll always hold a special place in my heart. And once again, a map that I loved playing when I was younger, and getting that round 100 was just so sweet. But I am quite surprised I didn't do this one before. So on to the fourth map, Zetsubou No Shima. Unfortunately, the audio didn't record on this, so I guess I'm just going to have to just put some anime lo-fi to like set the mood. But the first thing I always do is pick up the bucket. This is probably one of the most important items for this map, just because we have to do a lot of planting. Now, to be honest, I used to really hate Zetsubou. The setup for this map is quite long. That's mainly because you have to water plants, and each round you can only water the plant once. But this round 100 run, I had so much fun. When I was doing this round 100 challenge, I feel like this was the first time I actually played Zetsubou properly, and I never really appreciated this map enough. Throughout all the games, I've always enjoyed the Asian style maps and the jungles. And to be honest, I think Zetsubou is probably the best looking for that. But to start the long setup for Zetsubou, I always check these challenges, because I need to complete them to get the wonder weapon. And then straight away we come here and collect the skull that we need, because once we've done all four, we get the specialist, and it's the skull of Nansapwe. And all we have to do is just match the symbol to these podiums with the skull, and then just fend off zombies that come out of these portals. It's a pretty easy setup for the specialist, and honestly, it's so worth it, because for the high round strategy, it's absolutely amazing. Then we just repeat this for the second time at the second location. And then with my bucket, I then collect the blue water. And turning on the power on Zetsubou is a bit strange, but basically you just have to collect the water and then come to these generators. And there's one each side of the map, and this just allows us to access the bunkers to then turn on power. It also temporarily grants us power to this bunker, and we can use this trap to capture a spider for one of the wonder weapon parts. I have to admit, I do really like the spiders on this map. They replaced dogs on the max ammo rounds, and I just thought it was a really cool aesthetic choice for the map. But at round 5 we get the first wonder weapon part, and this basically just extracts a vial from the spider. I then repeat the first step for the second generator, and then I open the bunker. And then at round 8 by double tap. And then I also buy the M8, which is one of the weapons that we use for the high round strategy. I then start the lockdown sequence to turn on the power. And I thought the way they introduced water into this zombies map was really cool. It was the first time you're fully submerged and could swim. But once completed, we get the first part for the pack-a-punch, and we can turn on power. I then get the second part to the pack-a-punch, and all you have to do is just knife these web zombies and it'll drop the part. I do like how you just have to get these 3 parts over the pack-a-punch as well. It's not too difficult, but it's also quite interesting. And then at round 10 by jug, and then after I just collect the last part to the pack-a-punch, which is just in these tunnels where you have to swim. And I also swim deeper down into this cave and we can get the second part to the wonder weapon. I then do the third podium for the skull, and to collect the last part for the wonder weapon. And I didn't realise that you had to kill a zombie in this area, because basically it drops a vial that you need. And I played a couple of games before I got this round 100 run, and I was trying to get this vial in different areas, and I thought the RNG was just so unlucky, but yeah, you just have to be in this area, so don't be stupid like me. I buy stamina up, then I make my way down to where the last skull is and where I can build the wonder weapon, the KT4. I then finish the last skull, and honestly it's really easy with the KT4. It's a little bit similar to the Liquefier from Die Rise, but we do need to upgrade it. Then we come back and place the final skull, and then this allows us to get the skull of Nansapwe, and this also opens the area that we're going to train in for the high round strategy. All we have to do is just survive this little lockdown sequence, and then we've got the skull of Nansapwe, and this specialist weapon is absolutely insane. It's basically what we use for the high round strategy the majority of the time, and it kills a lot of zombies very fast. Now that we've got the skull of Nansapwe, I can use it, and then we can open this secret area. I also open Pack-a-Punch, and I do really like this one. The vines are a really cool touch. And then I Pack-a-Punch my M8. I will say though, the camo for this map, I think it could have been better. I just think it could have been more vibrant. It kind of just looks like a bit of a sicky green. Just imagine if it had some purple on it. I think then it would have been really cool. I then pick up the first part of the gas mask, as well as the first shield part, the second shield part, the second gas mask part, the final shield part, and the final gas mask part. I then build the shield in the closest tower next to where we're going to train, and I build the gas mask in the opposite tower. I then start the quest to upgrade the KT4, and the first step is to kill the boss spider. And this mini boss fight is definitely one of my favorites. It's so much fun to do every time. Once it's defeated, we can get its tooth, which is the first part to upgrade the KT4. And another perk of this map, we can also get Widow's Wine for free. I then come to the bottom of the bunker again and take this tube, and this basically allows us to get this like rainbow water that we need for the upgraded KT4. Whenever I was younger, I'd always miss this. I then use the skull to open the secret area down on the bottom, and we can basically plant a plant with the rainbow water, and then we can get the part for the KT4. I can see why a lot of people don't like this map. It is very long-winded and complicated, and there's a lot of steps, but to be fair, it's a lot of fun once you get it. And then once I've watered it 3 times, we can then harvest it, and we've got the second part to upgrade the KT4. Now at the start of the video, I said I needed to do these challenges, and basically, once you've done all 3, it allows you to get lightning to spawn on this platform, and we need the shield because it kind of captures it on the shield. And then with the electric shield, we can come to this cage and shock it, and this allows us to get the third and final part to upgrade the KT4. And then I just come down to the bottom of the bunker again, and then we can get the Masamune, and it just basically turns the KT4 blue and just upgrades it quite a lot. And this thing is pretty insane, but surprisingly, we don't use it for the high round strategy. We mainly need it to grow specific plants. And though it's long-winded, these plants rewards are absolutely mental. Now for the next few rounds, all we have to do each round is plant and water a seed and shoot it with the Masamune. And for the next few rounds, I just plant as many seeds as I can through the round, water it with a certain colour water, and shoot it with the Masamune. And after you've done this 3 times, it basically gives you a reward. One of the best rewards that you can get is these plants that give you perks, and all you have to do is just water them with a different coloured water each round. At round 19, I pack a punch my M8 and get Dead Wire. At round 29, I get another plant, and I finally get Quick Revive. At round 37, I get another perk plant, and I get Deadshot Daiquiri. At round 43, I get a different type plant that basically spawns power-ups, but luckily I got a perk bottle. So this allows me to get Speed Cola as well. I also buy the Vesper as my third gun. I pack a punch it and I pack a punch it again to get turned. And then around 45 we get our final perk plant and get Electric Cherry. And with the strategy we're using, this perk makes it so much fun. And though it's not completely vital, it does make it quite a bit easier. Now the other plants that we were growing and needing is these imprint plants. And what happens when you imprint on them is when you die, you respawn with whatever you have when you imprinted on it. These plants not only make Zetsubou easier, but so much more fun. And I got really lucky and managed to get quite a few in this game. And like I said before, I know Zetsubou is long-winded, and we are at round 45 and we can finally start the high round strategy without being interrupted. But you have to admit, the rewards are insane. We've got a Perkaholic and 3 imprint plants that get our perks back for us. And I think that's why I found a new love for Zetsubou, because you do really get rewarded for your effort, and it makes this high round pretty easy. Now before I jump into the high round strategy, I did down for my first time around 69. It was really sad. But as you can see here, once we bleed out, we spawn from the imprint plant, and the only thing we lose is points, but whatever points you do when you imprint, you get. So with me having 150,000 points when I imprinted on it, I'm not too bothered because I still got all my perks and all my weapons. So just make sure you imprint with whatever you need. But as for the high round strategy, like I said before, this room where you obtain the Skull and Sapway is absolutely insane. It's basically a big circle. The spawn rates are really fast and it's really fun. It was one of the few round 100s that didn't really become that tedious because it just kind of felt fun being able to run around this room. And I really enjoy maps that include training, and this map really keeps you on your toes. The best part as well is whilst you're watering the plants to get the perks and get the imprint plants, you can actually just start doing this strategy straight away. So once you obtain the Masamune, you can quickly start flying through the rounds. Now the actual strategy for training, you basically switch between your M8 and your Vesper, and you use turned in Dead Wire to recharge your Skull and Sapway. When you reload as well, with having Electric Cherry, it means that you can kill some zombies and shock them, which gives you enough time to kind of train. One thing you do need to be cautious of though is spiders. They can kind of trap you quite easily. And once you've done a few laps around this room, your Skull and Sapway is recharged, and you can use the Specialist. And I basically just sit in this corner and it destroys everything. Like, it really speeds up the rounds. And there's a nice balance between training and moving, and then you get a reward for once you've survived, you can use the Skull and Sapway and it just absolutely blitzes things. As for Gobblegums for this map, you don't really need Alchemical because you don't really run out of ammo. So I use In Plain Sight and anywhere but here. And this just gives you the opportunity in case you do really get trapped that you can just pop one and you don't get down. Now for Thrashers, basically I use the Masamune because the Masamune is really good against them, or you just primarily use the Skull and Sapway. 9 times out of 10, they're not really an issue, but they're so beefy and you do have to be careful because I had a few downs where they just one-hit me instantly. Plus they're huge, you can proper disrupt training, so get rid of them as soon as you can. Plus you can get like 2 or 3 in a round, so yeah, just get rid of them straight away. If you're in a position where you don't have the Skull and Sapway or any Masamune ammo, I basically just train around the map really carefully. Because even though you can train in this room with them, I had taken quite a few downs from Thrashers. On round 97, I probably had my most ridiculous down. and unfortunately I'd used all of my imprint plants. And though it was avoidable, I actually used it in plain sight because I got trapped here. And just look at this. This is so ridiculous. So I pop it, it activates, and then I down. And that's the only thing with these gobblegums. I've found that in plain sight and anywhere but here, they're so inaccurate sometimes. So on round 97, I quickly throw a monkey bomb. And also, I forgot to add, you can get monkey bombs from the plants, which is pretty cool. But yeah, I throw a monkey bomb and I have to go get my perks back at round 97 mid-round. And yeah, this was pretty scary. Luckily, you do keep all the perk spots so you can get a perkaholic back. But unfortunately, you can't buy all the perks off this map. So I just make my way and get as many as I can. And the one thing with Zetsubou, it's got a lot of tight corners. But unfortunately, getting Widow's Wine back, oh my god, it's so hard, and it was kind of dumb, and I did get really lucky. So luckily I do get it back, but this little tunnel down here, zombies can trap you. Luckily I just get just about ahead of them because I've been in this before, and those zombies that you can see that were coming towards me, if you don't do it in time, they can climb up there and trap you, and that would have been it. That would have been the game. So around 97 I got really lucky. I probably shouldn't have tried to get widows, to be honest. And as you can see, I ran out of quick revives as well, which was really sad. One thing I didn't realize in this run is basically if you imprint with quick revive and you have quick revive, it will use your quick revive first over the imprint plant. And one thing I had been doing is basically when I'd down myself again to then get all my perks back. But luckily I did make the last few rounds without quick revive, and we got to round 99, and it was a spider round, which is a max ammo round, which was nice and easy. So yeah, Zetsubou's round 100. It's an absolute blast. I had a lot of fun. And surprisingly, it's not even that hard. The room with Skull and Sapway and the plants that you can grow make it so much fun. And like I say, it's a complex map, but you can get rewarded for the effort that you put in. And even though I didn't like it that much when I was younger, it's definitely a special place in my heart because, to be honest, it's a pretty sick map. Gorod Krovi, another one of the best zombies maps of all time. And this was the map that originally I thought this was going to be the hardest part of the challenge. I left it as one of the last maps with the giant just because I thought this might be impossible. But to my surprise, the strategy is really easy and this wasn't even that hard. But the setup and strategy we're going to use, it does take quite a while to get to, so you'll see why it's quite easy but also quite hard. And it's just funny looking back at it now because I was terrified to do this round 100, but honestly I would do it again. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to do the Easter egg in under 115 minutes. Just with a little zombies reference of element 115. And that might sound pretty easy, we're just 5 minutes away from 2 hours, but this Easter egg's pretty hard and pretty long. And I hadn't done this Easter egg for years. Right from the start I buy quick revive. And on round 4, I take my earliest down, and yeah, this is just pretty pathetic, isn't it? And you might wonder, why'd you carry on if you've had it down so early? And yeah, you'll see. So I once again buy quick revive, and then I start opening the map. And then I hit the mystery box, and one thing Gorod Krovi is amazing for is the RNG. You can get the ray gun Mark 3s pretty much first time every time. There's not been many times when I played this map, and I've not been able to get them. And then I shoot the first trophy that we need for the Easter egg. I then turn power on, and I think this is just a good moment to say this map looks amazing. It's so cool, and then I pick up the first trophy. The aesthetics of this map is amazing, the story is amazing, the Easter egg is so much fun. Yeah, it's a challenge, but I do like a challenge, and the manglers, just once again, just a perfect map. I then use the first dragon command cylinder, and this allows us to get Pack-a-Punch. And all you need to do is just defend these Groth modules from zombies, and once it's complete, we get one of the parts of dragon command. I then pick up the first part of the shield, and this shield is absolutely insane. It's that insane that you use it for the high round strategy. Literally the best shield in COD Zombies history. I then get the second part of the shield, and then finally the third part. I also on round 6 buy Jug, then I build a shield down here in the Undercroft bit, and this is where we do the high round strategy. I then do the second Groth module. I also buy Speed Caller. Also, whilst doing the second Groth module, I use the Ray Gun Mark 3s for the first time. And even though we use these weapons for the high round strategy, we use it in a way that doesn't kill the zombies, which is really sad because the Ray Gun Mark 3s are a really cool gun. But unfortunately, around about round 40-50, they stop dealing damage. In the early rounds though, an absolute beast. I then come to double tap, and then I shoot it with the shield, and we can get the second trophy that we need for the Easter egg. And we also complete the final Groth module. I then place the 3 parts that we got from the Groth modules, and then I spawn in the dragon. And this dragon takes us to Pack-a-Punch, and honestly this never gets old. Every time that I play this map it's just as cool as the first time I ever did it. And the dragon drops us off at this house, and I really like this about Gorod Krovi because it just makes this map feel absolutely huge. Plus their take on the Battle of Stalingrad is so cool. I straight away pack-a-punch my ray gun Mark 3s. I then shoot this dragon egg, and then this means we can get the specialist weapon for this map, which is the Gauntlet of Siegfried. I then head back to the main map, and I also shoot this lever, and this allows us to get one of the trophies that we need for the Easter egg as well. Once back in the main map, I place my egg in this nest. I wait for a dragon to come, and when it breathes fire, it activates the next step. After a round of letting it cool, I can then pick it up. I then just need to kill napalm zombies, and then ride the dragon again, and then initiate the lockdown sequence. I then use this turret to do penetration kills for the egg. Then I finally get a multi-kill with the shield, and we're done. After I kill the last mangler, and then we've completed the lockdown. I then pack-a-punch the HG40, and this is so fun because it's basically just the MP40. I then pick up the third trophy from this toilet, and this is here because of the panel that we shot in the sewer. I pick up the Dragon Strike control that we got from the lockdown, and I get another crazy red eye. I don't know how I didn't die here. Thought that Valkyrie would have killed me with that shock, but luckily it didn't. But I quickly used an in plain sight and then head down here. And then down here, I put the egg in the incubator, and then we stand in front of this air conditioning unit and get a Valkyrie to shock it to turn it on. And then whilst we let the egg incubate, we have to check these different stations for a cylinder. I use a code cracker online, but basically you just have to switch to these numbers and it allows this valve to flow through the tubes, and then you can pick it up. I then place this cylinder into Sophia, and then we can type the password Kronos in, and this activates the next sequence. Then I come here and use my Dragon Strike, and this means we can get the 4th trophy. I turn this trap on, and the laser from the robot allows us to get the 5th trophy. Ride the dragon for a 3rd time, and then we can pick up the incubated egg. And then we come to this grave, and we've got the specialist, the Gauntlet of Siegfried. Then we make our way to this little safe here, we punch it, and we can get the final trophy that we need, and we can start doing the challenges. I then place all the trophies here, and then this is where the hard part starts. So here we have 6 challenges that we have to complete, and the first one I get is the Valkyrie. This challenge spawns in a Valkyrie at spawn that you have to protect. This challenge is really easy with the Ray Gun Mark 3 because if you use the ult fire that slows down the zombies, it doesn't damage the Valkyrie, and it allows you to stand close enough to it to get it to the station. My second challenge was the bomb step, and this isn't too bad in solo because you can pause as you do it. But for this step at the start, it will flash in an order where you're going to have to deactivate bombs in certain areas. And like I say, it's easy on solo because you can pause and you can write down the order at the start. But even years later, this is still nerve-wracking because if you get it wrong, it instantly blows you up and downs you. I remember struggling on this step for so long. The third challenge, I get the orb step. All you have to do is just go around the map and find this purple orb and shoot it. And it's pretty easy because you can just pre-fire it every time it talks. And once we've shot it for a 3rd and final time, it comes to this station and we can move on. The 4th challenge I got was the Groth module. This spawns a Groth module that you have to defend in a dragon site, and once it's completed, you send your dragon down for a part. My 5th challenge, I got the Mangler. And this is similar to the Valkyrie step where you just get a good Mangler and you have to lure it back to the facility. And right here, I thought I'd failed it because if you can see, the Mangler is actually affected by the death animation from the Ray Gun Mark 3, but luckily we did do it. And then the final challenge, which is always the last one, is 1 lockdown. You have to pick up this keycard, ride the dragon to pack-a-punch again, and then you place the keycard in this machine and it initiates a lockdown that you have to survive. One trick I use is I always leave a Mangler whilst the progress is downloading, and this just stops anything spawning in and you can just run loops whilst it's doing it. Really easy. Once complete, pick it up, and then make our way back to Sophia and we're done. She then gives a battery that we can give to Nikolai, and then we can go to the spawn, use the dragon to give the battery. Sophia leaves, and then it's boss fight time. Now there's 2 stages to the boss fight. In the first one you have to defeat a dragon, and it's really cool because Nikolai helps you to defeat it, and then we fight Nikolai. And it's just crazy because years ago I found this boss fight so hard, and you can literally just pop it in plain sight and you can kill him in one go. But yeah, Nikolai just stands there. You just have to shoot the golden bits that are on his like armor. And another interesting part was this was the first time that I completed this Easter egg on the PC. So it was really cool that I got the round 100 on this run as well. So you might be thinking, Max, why have you gone and done the Easter egg? Well, if you do the Gorod Krovi Easter egg in under 115 minutes, you get permaperkaholic. As you can see, I did this in just 57 minutes. And I'm still stunned just because the first time I actually did this Easter egg on PC, I get the round 100, like what? And then for the rest of the setup, I buy the HVK, which for some reason is the Vesper outline. I then buy the Vesper. I then pack-a-punch the Vesper until I get turned. And then I pack-a-punch the HVK until I get fireworks. And then finally, the last thing I do is get monkey bombs. So now that we're fully set up, I'm going to get into the high round strategy, but first I'm going to show you what happens when I down. So as you can see, round 36 I take my first down, and honestly this is always a scary sight, but on Gorod Krovi it genuinely just doesn't matter. Because once we're revived, we get all of our perks back other than quick revive. This is the reason I get monkeys. You just quickly throw a monkey bomb down, and then you go to the Wonder Fizz. And because we've got all of our perks other than quick revive, every single time you'll get quick revive from the Wonder Fizz. The only things you need to be careful of is to not go down if you've gone down, and you just need to keep track of where the Wonder Fizz is. Now the high round strategy just takes place down here right next to the shield. It is one of the strangest strategies I've ever used, but it's a hell of a lot of fun, and it's really OP, and it's not even that hard. To start off, what you want to do is when your shield breaks, use the ult fire on the Ray Gun Mark 3 to get another shield back. This slows down the zombies just enough so you can get it back without getting hit. Then what you want to do is use the shield's blast to kill the majority of the zombies. zombies. I'd recommend letting the zombies build up, and as they build up, use the shield to get it damaged a little bit. And I do this because once you've used the last blast, you can break the shield and get a new one straight away. This is the main strategy that you're going to use to get to round 100. It looks a lot harder than it is, but it's genuinely so much fun. Now, one thing you want to be doing as well is use the Vesper with turned and fireworks on your HVK. This speeds up the rounds a lot as well. Plus, when you get insta-kills with death machines, you can literally just sit in this corner and just destroy everything that comes your way. Also, for gobblegums, I only use in plain sight. This is just because anywhere but here can have a chance to spawn you in the boss arena, and then you can just throw the game for you. I've seen live streams where people have used anywhere but here, and then they get stuck in the boss arena, and then they just can't carry on. So definitely just use in plain sight. But to be honest, once you get in a rhythm, you don't even really need to use it. Like I say, this strategy looks really hard, but it's so much fun, and it's really easy. And I just find it really funny because I was so intimidated by this map, but this was probably the most fun I had doing this challenge. Another part of this strategy is using the trap on the right side of the room. This also speeds up the rounds quite significantly. There we go, round 100 on Gorod Krovi. I am really proud of this one, and this one genuinely was so much fun. It is one of the greatest maps ever made, and even though the high round strategy is completely bizarre, it's so much fun, and it's just as good as the map. But as you can see, 7 hours later, 20,000 kills, and 12 downs and 12 revives, which isn't too bad, I don't think. I definitely expected to have a lot more. But yeah, round 100 on Gorod Krovi. And the last map, Revelations. This was the first ever zombies map I ever got round 100 on. And it feels really nice to end where my first experience of getting a round 100 started. And sure, this map is incredibly easy, but it serves its purpose perfectly. And it's truly just about having fun. I do love Revelations, I think it looks mental, and I think the premise of it is really cool. But a part of me still wishes for something more, because the other maps before this were just absolutely insane. But Revelations is still an amazing map. It served great for nostalgia, and it was a great send-off not only for Black Ops 3, but for every zombies map that had ever come before this in previous games. It had the greatest guns of all time, and it was a compilation of the greatest maps of all time. To start off, I override this corruption engine and open the first portal. And then buy Jug from Nectar and Totem, and then open the first door out of spawn, and head my way to Origins. Like I said before, this map is perfect because it's just a compilation of everything that's great about zombies. I then grab the first part of the shield, and it's great because it's the shield from Gorod Krovi. I get the Ragnarok DG4s. I then straight after get Little Arnie's. I then override the second corruption engine. I love this Mob of the Dead area, and it's mainly because that was the first ever map that really opened my eyes to just how great this zombies mode is. I then take this jump pad to Verrucht. I just love that this map is ultimately in space and it's just worlds colliding. I grab the second shield part, start the third corrupt engine, I buy a speed caller, and then I take this jump pad to Kino de Toten. This was the first ever map I'd ever played. I remember I think I only got to round 5 and it was just at a sleepover at one of my friend's houses. Then it was from that moment that I knew I had to play this game. And luckily, the first COD that I ever got was Black Ops 2. So what a great way to get fully introduced into this franchise. I then activate the anti-gravity in the Eisendrache area, and I get the final shield part. I then do the fourth corruption engine, I buy stamina, and the fact this is Shangri-La is just so cool. And then build a shield in Nact. Now that all 4 corruption engines are done, we can trap the Apothecon Servant with the Death Ray and get Pack-a-Punch. At round 10 I get the Thunder Gun, and at round 12 I get the Apothecon Servant. One of the best parts about Revelations is you can upgrade the Apothecon Servant. You just have to shoot these glowing rocks dotted around the map. I remember when it first came out, and I think it took a week for the community to figure out the Easter egg. I buy Quick Revive, and the Pack-a-Punch is in the stomach of the Apothecon. It really feels like Tryout just went crazy with other ideas, and honestly it just works for me. I love Black Ops 3 so much. I Pack-a-Punch the Thunder Gun to the Zeus Cannon, and then Pack-a-Punch the Apothecon Servant, and we've completed the setup for the high roll strategy. Now the high round strategy is here in Verrucht. We just take a left here and we basically camp. It's a really easy strategy, and you basically just put your back up here where the mystery box would be, and you shoot the Apothecon Servant at this wall. With the spawns being so close, you just spawn trap the zombies, and no zombies spawn behind you because there's no spawns close enough. Whenever your Ragnarok DG4s are available, you just use them up against this wall, and then once it's over, just shoot the Apothecon Servant, pick them up, and then they recharge. Now with this strategy, you do need to cycle your gobblegums because you need alchemicals, and there's a gobblegum machine just right around this corner. And like I said before, this round 100 is very easy, but considering that Revelations is meant to be the end of an era, it wouldn't make sense for Tryout not to put these crazy weapons in. So yeah, it does make getting round 100 really easy on Revelations. I think the grand send-off is just great. The max ammo rounds are ridiculously long though, but if you come to this spot, it's the fastest for spawns and nothing can spawn behind you. As for the bosses on Revelations, there's these different variants of Margus and the Panzer. And that's where the Zeus cannon comes in, and it kills them every time with ease. But yeah, to round this video up, I love Black Ops 3. It is one of my most favorite games of all time, and I still cannot believe I managed to get round 100 on every Black Ops 3 Zombies map. It was something when I was younger that I always dreamed of doing and never thought I could. And whilst doing this round 100 challenge, it's hit me with so much nostalgia, whilst also creating new memories too. I really do think that Black Ops 3 Zombies is going to be a game mode that I do come back to in the future. For me, it was the absolute peak of zombies. And though I've completed the Black Ops 3 Zombies maps, there is Zombies Chronicles, but honestly, I don't know if I've got it in me to do those 8 maps. They are some of the hardest maps of all time, but they are some of the greatest as well. If those of you who have really enjoyed this video and want me to do Chronicles, leave a like as well as a comment, and I'm just going to set the absolute absurd goal of 1,000 likes and I'll do it. And I'm aiming that high because I know that I won't get that many likes, and it's mainly just because I know that even though I love the Zombies Chronicle maps, it's going to be way too difficult, and it's going to take way too long. And to be honest, I just really don't want to do it. Please don't make me do it. To those of you who have watched all this video, thank you so much. It did take a very long time, but I really do hope you enjoyed it. Be sure to comment down below your feelings on Black Ops 3. And please leave a like and subscribe, it would mean the world. But to end this video perfectly, this year on November 6th, this game will be 10 years old. I've had 10 years of fun, 10 years of memories with friends, but this finally marks the day that I actually completed Black Ops 3 Zombies.